Ecosystems Ecology Class 2014.
And we are here to present to you about the effects of global climate change on coral reefs. We can all agree that climate change is happening, and it has the potential to cause many changes in the workings of our Earth. Global warming brings with it changes in weather patterns, intensity of storms, changes in ocean currents, temperature, and other physical and chemical aspects of the ocean water, resulting in significant impacts on marine life. One type of ecosystem that is very sensitive to the changes caused by global warming is the coral reef. Coral reefs have been described as the rainforests of the ocean because although they cover less than 1% of the ocean floor, they host an estimated 25% of all known marine species. Scientific estimates suggest that over 1 million species of plants and animals benefit from coral reef ecosystems. Physical, chemical, and biotic changes to the coral reefs will cause the death of the reef and consequent loss of habitat for over 1 million marine species. Watch to learn more about how this will happen.
The Great Barrier Reef covers approximately 250,000 kilometers squared and is nearly 2,000 kilometers long. The reef is located off the northeast coast of Australia. This spectacular formation is threatened by global warming. Since the Holocene time period 5,500 years ago, physical conditions have not been ideal for coral growth. This reef is under stress due to high water temperature from raised atmospheric temperature. Each year, ocean water temperature increases 0.08 degrees Celsius. Increased water temperature has a large impact on the coral suffering from coral bleaching. With unrestrained warming, coral could become lost on a global scale. With increased temperature, the sea level is on the rise, with the melting ice caps and shrinking of glaciers. Climate projections now suggest that sea levels may rise 0.5 to 1 meters by 2100, which may lead to complications such as reef drowning. The lack of protection from this can have a major impact on local economies. Increased water temperature would result in strong currents all across the reef due to great wave-driven flows from large waves and the reduced height of hydrodynamic roughness relative to water depth that would allow for fast wind-driven currents to develop.
Acidification is occurring in our oceans as a result of global warming. Acidification is the decrease of the normal ocean pH of 8.16 to 8.05. High levels of CO2 in the air are leading to higher levels of CO2 dissolved into the ocean. CO2 dissociates hydrogen ions, decreasing the pH. The hydrogen ions interact with bicarbonate needed for shelled marine organisms, therefore resulting in an overall decrease in bicarbonate. Bicarbonate concentrations necessary for growth may be insufficient by 2100 or when CO2 levels exceed 840 parts per million. Salinity is also chemically considered. Coral reefs do best in salinity ranging between 25 to 42%. Decreased levels of salinity are particularly harmful to corals. Increasing precipitation due to climate change will dilute the salinity of the oceans. Runoff from precipitation will have the additional effect of increasing turbidity, which will decrease the amount of photosynthetic reactions occurring. Lastly, the effect of nitrification. There's evidence that nitrogen will be increasing in our oceans, leading to harmful algal blooms. This chemically and physically prevents photosynthesis, increasing total carbon and increasing acidity.
Corals can be divided into two groups, hard coral and soft coral. Hard corals, also known as stony coral, produce a rigid skeleton made of calcium carbonate in crystal form called aragonite. Whereas soft corals, like sea fans, do not produce a rigid calcium carbonate skeleton and do not form reefs, though they may be present in a reef ecosystem. Most reef-building corals have a mutually beneficial relationship with microscopic unicellular algae called zooxanthellae. The coral structure provides a place for zooxanthellae to live, while the algae serve as an energy source for corals. Zooxanthellae photosynthesis generates as much as 90 to 95% of the coral's energy. Zooxanthellae also provides corals with their many vibrant colors. Shallow coral reefs have optimal growth rates in warm water ranging from 70 to 85 degrees Fahrenheit. If temperatures exceed this range, coral bleaching can occur. Coral bleaching is a process of corals expelling their symbiotic zooxanthellae. Without this, the tissue of the coral appears transparent and the coral's bright white skeleton is revealed. Corals also begin to starve once they bleach. However, this stress is likely to cause decreased coral growth and reproduction and increased susceptibility to disease. Bleached corals often die if the stress persists. Rising water temperatures also have an effect on fish. Fish body temperature is moderated by water temperature. Increasing sea temperature can affect important biological processes of fish, including growth, reproduction, swimming ability, and behavior. Reproduction is only possible in narrow temperature range for some fish, and therefore could be affected by the forecast temperature rises associated with climate change. Temperature also influences the sex of some fish, which may have an effect on population dynamics. Ocean acidification reduces a coral's ability to build their skeletons. This will result in weaker coral structures, thus reducing their ability to withstand physical disturbance from storms. They will have less energy to respond to stress and disease, and there will be fewer protective habitats for other marine life. Other effects on coral formation are the abundance of carbon in the food chain, which will impact fish species throughout habitat and food availability. Some plankton form hard shells from calcium carbonate. These species are likely to be directly affected by acidification, which will impact the rate of shell formation, and because some species will be affected more than others, ocean acidification will not only change the activity of individual phytoplankton types, but will also tend to favor some types over others. Resulting shifts in the makeup of plankton communities will affect the animals that depend on them for food. It will also influence the cycling of nutrients, such as carbon, through open ocean ecosystems.